I grew up in the 80s in rural Minnesota with two brothers and a single mom, and every single neighbor was a boy. So instead of Barbies and My Little Pony, it was a lot of kick the can and basketball games and water gun fights. So eventually I really started processing what it was like to just have mom present and dad not in the picture. And I distinctly remember in grade school a friend saying, "My dad took me bowling last night. It was so fun. And he said I'm gonna be such a good bowler." And I was like, wow, what's that like to have a mom and a dad? My brothers both left first, then I was the last one to go to college. I actually ended up meeting a man in college that became my husband. Unfortunately, that marriage didn't last. He didn't choose to stay faithful to our vows, and we were divorced. I was alone with a newborn, and to think God would never let this kind of thing happen to me twice as a daughter and then a wife. I do remember writing in a journal page, what is trust? And if these key men can't really stick around, how can it even be that you are a faithful father? A couple years into her life, or maybe even just 18 months in, that's when Prayer Ventures became a part of my story too. A lot of cool things were revealed in one of those prayer sessions. A lot of my life played out before me and was redeemed in front of me. And it reminded me how in all of those years, God the Father was my father. And God the Father was there when I was born, and he was there when that grade school girl said her daddy took her bowling, and my daddy was there too. And he was there even in the mess of a divorce and that deep betrayal. Like, my father was there. And that starts that trust journey. Maybe men who fear the Lord actually look like the Lord. So maybe they can be trusted. So that door started to slowly open. They prayed for that too, that if it was God's will, that he would redeem the love story that was supposed to happen and just make it right the second time.
So I was on a job site, and Becca was working next door. What initially attracted me to her was her strength.
He waited for a while for me to say I was ready. And then on that first date, I could tell he was different.
Slowly but surely, she was trusting me more and more.
The longer we worked through it, the more we realized that no one was going anywhere. He wasn't going anywhere away from Addie, and he wasn't running anywhere away from me.
The wedding was in San Diego, so it was a beautiful day.
Addie actually walked me up the aisle to Ryan, and we were like a package deal.
I wrote vows for Addie too, and I gave her a ring. I got down on one knee and read her the vows.
I made through my ring without crying. And then he gave her the ring, and I was a basket case. Watching my daughter get a papa is only second to me getting a godly man who will stay in my life forever. God's plan was that I was to meet this strong and committed man, and he also planned for us to have a couple of sons. Rather than just a mom and a daughter, we're this family of 5 that's got a whole different life. You think about a redemption story as far as a man and woman romantic story, but then you think about a redemption story where God says, take this, all of it, and push it forward. And so I run a charity where I get to take the things that I lived through and cheerlead single moms through all of that. I can be what Prayer Ventures was for me, for them.